other angle I wanted to take was I don't think anyone will argue that one of the most important things to whether or not you're playing well is your like confidence. Like, do I feel confident on the ice? And the only way you get that is by playing.
Yeah.
You need to be playing. So one of the things that a lot of kids will say, even in AAA, like if there's if they're a defenseman and there's a guy that plays more than them, or they're getting taken off while this other guy keeps getting put on, that starts to get in your head. That's hard to handle because you're not the go-to guy. You don't feel like you're the go-to guy anymore.
Okay.
And so that's something that will affect in your own head your confidence playing the game. Okay, so now if we fast forward that and think about it in terms of the draft, you get drafted, you go on this team, and now you're getting healthy scratched. Now you're playing fourth line minutes. Now you're playing whatever. Or even you play on a junior B team and you're playing third or fourth line. You're not getting your second power play instead of first. You're not the go-to guy because they got a 20-year-old captain that's the best, and they're going to give him all the opportunity because they want to win. Or you don't get drafted, and then you do what I did. You go and play midget major, and now guess what? All those two guys that were better than you in draft year, or their coach liked better than you, they're gone now.
Yeah.
And now you're the go-to guy. And even though it's midget major, you're playing all the big minutes, all the top situations, and even if it's not the best in terms of the competition, you get to play all the time.
That's right.
And that's the biggest difference maker for so many people.
You get better by playing.
Yeah, you have to play.
Yep.
So when you're thinking about things in terms of that too, like again, this is under the assumption that your goal is not just to play junior hockey or not just to play in the OHL. If you want to be a player, you have to play. And that's what's funny. You see, like, even in the States too, like these kids come out of high school, you know, they're playing high school hockey. High school hockey, I mean, in the States, it's a lot better than high school hockey in Canada, but it's not the USHL. It's not the NAHL.
No,
it's not the BCHL. It's not even close to that level of competition.
No.
And these kids are dominating in grade 12. And then they get an opportunity to go play for a school somewhere.
It's funny. I was listening to Ian Pulver, sports agent.
Yeah.
He's got a podcast called Storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Brian Lawton on the other day. And he was the third guy from, he was a first overall pick in the NHL from some high school in Minnesota. So he was talking about it. I was like, it's amazing. He went from playing high school with kids that are 15, 16, 17, and he was just turning 18. To getting drafted first overall, and he was stepped into a National Hockey League game. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When was he drafted?
That would have been 80, let's say 83, 82, 84, something like that. Like the 80s?
Yeah.
But yeah, imagine that. Wow.
Well, and I don't want to, like you were saying, we're not just trying to like fancy this up and put velvet on a sledgehammer, because it's like it's more likely you're going to get a good opportunity coming out of a better league. Like that's definitely true. But there's so many stories. It's not that much more likely that you're going to get an opportunity from one of those leagues than from a different league. Like there's so many avenues. There's so many players coming from all different avenues to get wherever you go. And that for sure is true. So just because like, I honestly think for something like the OHL, because in the news and stuff, they only focus on those top guys like we talk about. They only focus on those 1%ers. So what's in the minds of all these 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds getting drafted is, I'm going to get drafted high. I'm going to play and have 2 really good years because I'm going to be a top player, and then I'm going to go right to the NHL.
Right.
And it's that short-term thinking. You think you're going to do this in 2 steps. Yeah. That is almost impossible. Almost no one does that.
Shit sandwich is coming.
Yeah, almost no one does that. So if you think that that's what's going to happen, just you already should know that's not happening.
Yeah.
That is not happening, because if it was happening, then when you were 14, everyone would have already known that was happening.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be having this conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not happening. So you need to start to come up with a strategy of like, what's another path that I can get to where I want to go? And there's so many.
Yeah.
And then you start to work on it. You start to focus on those things that we were talking about.
Well, and the thing is do you want to be the talented kid? If you want to be the talented kid that got drafted fairly high, that has enough talent to play in the league, the OHL, and has enough talent to get drafted in the NHL, and enough talent without like overdoing the work to get to the American League and compete with or against a kid that grinded and played an next year of midget or 2 or junior B or tier 2 for a year or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
and had to practice real hard and had to fight and scratch every second of the way to get to where you guys are at the same point.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're not better than this guy, your teammates, or you're competing against each other. I know who I'm going to take my money, put my money on. It won't be the talent.
Mm-hmm.
It will not be the talent. It's going to be the guy that he's just used to the fight. I like that guy.
Yeah.
Talent, what's the term? It's talent. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
And grind and have some shit sandwich. There's nothing you can do to this guy.
Well, that's the when you call somebody a gamer, that's what I like too. There's two ways to think about that. That really skilled guy that always delivers under pressure. But the other thing is those guys who, when the game gets tough, they get tough.
Oh yeah.
And those are those kind of guys. Like when the game gets tough, those guys can step up and they deliver when there's pressure. So you get that guy that's super skilled, but when they gotta go in the corner with the guy that's tough, they fade away.